do the orientation. Well, I'd say orientation, I mean the horizontal orientation. And so therefore, y'all don't gotta worry. We can for the most part do it this orientation the way y'all keep saying y'all want it done. So finally got that done. Appreciate your patience. And y'all get in here while we talk this shit, as we often do. Hopefully y'all had a decent Thanksgiving. You know, I did. Actually, this is the first Thanksgiving where we have gotten the food to the level and the quality that my mom would have did. That's one thing we all commented on. We were very proud, very proud. You know, my youngest brother is the one who actually mentioned that he didn't cook, which is good because that's not really his job. It was me and my middle brother. You know, I did the ham. Yo, my ham, I gotta put up photos of it. Yo, I did it. It came out just like the YouTube video of a brother, by the way. Because it's actually starting to be a lot of black male cooking channels, YouTube channels. So I gotta get back into my YouTube channel I did specifically for food, because there's a lot of brothers doing their thing with that. One dude called it light skin sugar for brown sugar, which is code for light brown sugar, but he got it late. I thought that was very funny. But yeah, so I cooked the ham. I cooked the stuffing was like the hardest part, and the stuffing is still not there yet, but it was a leaps bound improvement from last year. And I actually did it, and this is actually my last Thanksgiving in my 30s, so that's another thing. This is gonna be my last Christmas in my 30s. But yeah, so it was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. You know, it's funny because women. You know, it's funny because women will talk about they don't like they want to talk about everything as a flex, but the shit that actually matters. You don't never hear women say cooking is their food is a flex. You don't never this is why they get so mad at Cooking with Kaya, which, you know, the way them chicks be jumping on her, man, that tells me everything I need to know, because she's an FBA black girl. You know, she even, like, let's keep it real, when you hear her talk, she mainly talks about, I mean, I haven't heard her, I don't listen to her like that, but I haven't heard her mention her dad. She mainly talks about her father, her mother, and her sister. But that shit don't matter, you know. So this is a black female, and, you know, the good and the bad, and, you know, got tattoos. So it's not like she comes off, it's like she better than black women. Got the facial structures like, but nah, they hate her. It's jealousy. A lot of that is jealousy, needs to be called out. I'm really, you know the funny thing too that I noticed you don't really got a lot of black women riding for her either. Like, there's nobody. You know, not saying that this is like Shay Shardae's job or Dee Dee's job, but you don't have nobody that's really like saying, I'm going to go to bat for this chick because she represents, you know, black success, you know, the type of people that they're going to be an influencer. Look, is she perfect? No. Like, she kind of left the dude that, you know, she was with. But let's keep it real. That dude was getting money, and that dude could probably get a better looking chick than her. And this is not to say she's not an attractive young woman, but that dude was making like, I think, $8,000 a month, so he was already doing it full time. So it's kind of like that's going to be an issue that's going to fall on her before that falls on him, to be honest with you. Because at the end of the day, if you got a dude that's really down for you and you actually attracted to him, I mean, I get it. Y'all want to be young, but y'all want to say y'all are young and y'all want to explore everything. But one thing that a lot of people don't understand, and I get it, youth, but the thing is, you don't get a lot of stuff you don't get to circle back on. Sometimes you have to take the risk of clocking out. And that's not just something for females, that's something for dudes too. A lot of people have their stuff in there, like, based on where they are now, they have this, you know what, this person I probably should have clocked out with for this reason, especially at different ages or stuff. But you don't get to make that anybody else's fault. And, you know, she took that on the chin, and it is what it is, you know. But, which is also another thing, too. So it's not like she's like this little Miss Perfect that she tries to act like she's better than other black women, but other black women can't stand her. And a lot of that is jealousy. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah, this is like moving. All right. I'm gonna be on here for about 45 minutes. This ain't really what I want to talk about, but I just you know, do a preamble while y'all get in here. What's up? She hate me. Knockout Pharaoh. I'm definitely gonna make a push to increase my Discord users and my personal Discord, as well as the main Discord in and you know how, you know, this is Black Friday, right? All right, we got a couple people in here. So yeah, so you know, but the thing is, man, you know, Dumper did another video y'all should check out talking about, you know, this time it's Andrew Tate and people getting on. I haven't listened to it, like only like a 2 minutes of it. And dudes are talking about, if you listen to this person or that person, you're cooked. And this goes into, you know, that reminds me of Discord I got kicked out of, you know, because a bitch got mad and then the dude basically bent the fucking knee. And my thing that shit reminds me of is, one thing I wanted to be out here is, if y'all are, I know BGS did a video on, we'll talk about Pearl, talk about the matriarchy, and I'll keep it real. Like, I really want, this is what I would like to see. I would like to see if, you won't really see Africans do it, because Africans can have matriarchal tendencies themselves, but nowhere near like ours. But I really want to see other races really start talking shit about black people, but in the right way. And when I say the right way, I mean calling out things that black people will struggle to, rather than lying, calling out shit that black people will struggle to like counter. And calling the black community a matriarchy, calling the black community, could you imagine if other races of men were to say, the reason why y'all got game, swag, even the way y'all, you know, even some of the physical attributes, is because at the end of the day, you niggas are born, you motherfuckers are born to serve women. That you literally come out of a community where you all are literally created and almost damn near designed for you to serve that bitch, to sexually serve that bitch, to emotionally serve that bitch, to socially serve that bitch. And this is why you all have a real hard time controlling your women. And that makes you, no matter what you do in your community, and no matter what bitch you fuck outside the community, the reality is they choose you because you're willing to do shit that better men are just not willing to do. And y'all willing to do everything but actually build. So they basically slum it with your ass. And we'll deal with, see, that shit a lot of black men wouldn't be able to counter, because they could say that's why I fuck your bitch. But the reality is, that shit, they wouldn't be able to counter that. That's not something they would just be able, black men would be able to just talk out of that. And if other groups were to say that, see, the problem is other groups of black people can't say that shit because they haven't built shit either. They haven't built shit either, so they can't say that. But other groups, if they were to say that, it would be very difficult. And this is why your women always stay trying to hop out the black community. That would be a very difficult counter. Especially if white men said it. White men are not going to say that because white men don't want black men to figure it out. And this is not to say white men understand that, but there's a reason it's not said. It's reason of all the insults that get said, this is never talked about. It is because a lot of groups take cues from white people, and a lot of white people really understand that if black men were to ever correct that, we would be a problem, a real problem. If we ever, and when I say a problem, I mean competing in a lot of different arenas that white people don't want black people competing in economically, because you see what's happening economically with them in other arenas, like with coding and all of that. Because Asians can do almost better coding, better coding for a cheaper price. White people are basically betraying other white people and going where the money is. So my thing is, see that. And I mentioned that because, you know, BGS did the video with Pearl, and I haven't seen that video, but people are talking about it in my Discord. And the thing about it is, people are upset, and I get it. I'm not discounting any goofy things that Pearl has said. Lead attorney actually cooked her, and Messi did a reaction to lead attorney cooking her and making her look real stupid in the lead attorney way, which is very hard to, you can't really counter it without really looking crazy, which is something, which by the way is a skill set that's extremely, it's not difficult to execute from a technical standpoint, but to come off, to be able to talk to be a black man and be able to communicate with a white female, a white person, and then to maneuver that situation and not look like you're being aggressive, but set her up to where either she's gonna look dumb or be aggressive, and she did the only thing that she could do was try to change the subject. That's not easy, because that takes a certain level of finesse that you just can't technically, it's not a technical thing. You have to have a certain finesse. And then the other thing is, this is a conversation the lead attorney was made, maybe he knew about it, but Pearl was telling him this in real time, like what happened. So this is him using what she said from her perspective, not just them having because the conversation wasn't really about it. It was about marriage, and Pearl was talking about, you know, black women deal with criminals, which they do. And Lee basically flipped it into are there more white criminals or black criminals? And at first I was like, what does that have to do with what she said? And it was really about, you tend to know a lot more about black criminality than white criminality. And he framed it as being weird. And it is weird. And he didn't frame it like he was telling it. Saying she's weird. He was framing it as that is weird. And the way he did it didn't come off as he was saying her. It was very implied, very, you know, obviously he's an attorney. And again, you know, that's that trial lawyer shit that you can't really teach. That's that trial lawyer shit. Yeah, he did. Because it's kind of like, what's the obsession? It really did. And the way he did it, even the atmosphere of the, like, because something like that could be very contentious. And even the atmosphere of, like the conversation wasn't really tense. Like, it wasn't like, okay, this is a hostile situation, because if it's a hostile situation, then the black man is going to get blamed for creating that atmosphere. No, it wasn't. It was actually calm, very quiet, and you could tell she didn't really pick up on what he was doing until she was already in it. And I've told y'all about Lead. I've told y'all I don't want to talk to him. Look, I like Lead, absolutely, but Lead is not somebody I want to talk to for a prolonged period of time. Because, especially if it's something we disagree on, because the thing about it is, you have to be thinking in probably minimum 2 layers, but probably 3 layers. Because most people are just paying attention, they're listening to respond. And that's not going to work with him. That's going to actually play into, and I'm not saying he's being conniving or anything like that. It's just a way of communicating. Like, the way he communicates in debates is completely different than like an Andrew Wilson. You know, and you have to be thinking in layers. And I can do that. I'm not, it's not nothing worth the energy for me to do that. And most people aren't even aware enough to know you have to be doing that when you talk to them. That's why Glendon got caught up, because it's like you have to anticipate your kind of verbal environment, what you're saying, because then you got to think about, if you're not speaking right, it can be used against you, which is why I tend to, I tell it like it is. I don't sit here and lie, because that's how you get caught. I don't tell my truth, I tell the truth. And it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're not aware of that, you don't have the kind of you're not aware of that, you're just gonna look fucking stupid. I won't say 30 steps, but you do have to be able to think like in 3-dimensionally simultaneously, which is very difficult, and it's very difficult to do if you haven't been trained on how to do it. Because he may say something, and then you're not paying attention to what he said a while ago, and you know, it's, yeah. And it wasn't, I don't want to say he set a trap for her. I'm not trying to say that, but when I'm trying, because really what she was saying, like when you say these little stats, like 1 in 3 black men have a felony, which is not true, by the way, which is not true. Even if you cut up, like just count black men that are 18 or older, and so it's about what, 20 million black men, 20 million black men, right, that are 18 and over. Wait, no, not 20 million. It's about 10 million black men are 18 and over. So to say a third, that means you need like about 3.4 million to have had a felony ever. And then the other thing that people don't like to talk about, even if I were even gonna even discuss that, you also have to talk about that black men are the majority. We are by far the most, I forget, I'm blanking on the term, but found to be not guilty and unruly convicted. The only thing that we have, though, that many felonies lets you know is that we're over policed. That's all that means. That, you know, now Pearl will draw in the conclusion is that we do the most crime. But that's what she would do. We are over policed, we're overcharged. White people are charged when they can get them misdemeanors, they will be given misdemeanors. White women are damn near not charged at all. But that's all that means. That's all that means. And this is why I always say white women are complicit in white violence, which is why they shouldn't complain about it. I generally don't care about when white women are complaining about white men violating them. That's between white men and white women, because white women actively protect white men when it comes to stuff like that. For example, when they had Betsy DeVos, you know, in Trump's first term, she was the Secretary of Education, and I've talked about it, she pulled that letter that they did on targeting, on basically going to schools and Me Too, and this back in the heyday of Me Too. Towards the end of it, she pulled that letter. Why? Because white men were getting caught in that dragnet too much. Why? Because guess what? Foreigners are not messing with white women like that, because that'll be a hysteria. So foreigners are not going to mess with white women outside of consent. So you're not going to catch a whole bunch of them, because that would just create, yeah. Even if they might do it in their own country, they're not doing that to white women. And so that doesn't even get talked about or brought up. And then it's not enough black men in these schools for you to catch a whole bunch of black men doing that. Not in the regular schools, because we all know it's more women in college than men in college in general. And then we know with black men. So those things cannot occupy the same space. You would have to damn near say every black man is basically a horn dog, which is not true, because they wouldn't be there in the first place if that was true, to the extent that they like to make it, or they would even insinuate. So it was catching. And by the way, black men are not going to be caught slipping, because we know we can get kicked out of these schools. But that white boy frat shit, oh hell yeah. You heard Akasha's wife talking about, you know, the orgy type shit that's going on there. So yeah, in that environment, taking it is going to be more likely. And so yeah, they were getting caught the fuck up. And because they were getting caught the fuck up, Betsy DeVos removed that shit. That's why she removed it. It was because there was too many of their sons that was getting caught up in that. Now, they didn't give a fuck about the women, because those are white women putting that on them. And white women are not necessarily going to lie to that degree on their own men, because they understand there'll be real consequences, like, and depending on who you lie on. Remember, this is after the Duke LaCrosse situation. So they were kind of sensitive about that. Even though that was a black woman that did that. So My point is, and this is some type of shit I would tell Pearl. It's like, y'all act like white men don't do crime like that. Then, and to be fair, she did acknowledge white women like Ted Bundy and they like Luigi Mangione, which that's kind of a slightly separate issue because technically he hasn't been convicted of a crime yet. We're gonna be fair, but at the end of the day, you all have a problem with y'all want to protect your men. The PDF file stuff, all that shit, y'all let a lot of that slide. Y'all do as a group, but you're not worried about that. You're worried about black people. See, that's how you respond. That is how you respond to when she says shit like that. That's how you respond. Say, well, let's have the conversation. Not know I'm gonna get in my feelings because, you can do it the way Lee did it too, but that's probably the better way, but that's how I would do it. But not getting in your feelings, not that I can't believe you said that, you're white. Because this is the thing, like on that Portuguese nigga shit, which I haven't seen, but I've been told about it, and it's basically like a Lapeep bullshit. The reason why black women get upset with Pearl is because they see Pearl in their space. See, even if you're a black man that has a channel, they believe that channel belongs to them. That's why Anton has had to check black women many times on that shit. They believe anything that involves black men, but meaning not that they're a part of it, they believe they own it. Because they believe they own black men. So they get angry and low key they be wanting to get. This is why 6 got mad at Anton because they hold, even though Lapeef was really one of Man One's controller who was on that show or not, they hold him responsible because they're trying to chastise him because they own him. And black men need to start asking, do you believe you own me? Do you believe you control me? Because black men believe that black men belong to them, even they don't believe they belong to black men. And again, I said this before, I'm gonna say it again. The problem is black men don't want to acknowledge that fact. They don't want to acknowledge that problem. Because to acknowledge it means you have to solve it. Or you be a bitch. And this is why a lot of black men always talk around a lot of shit and never talk straight through it. Because they don't really want to solve it. They just want to be in the emotions of it. Which is some hoe shit, by the way. Any of you niggas like that, you all are hoes. Because most of y'all aren't making enough money to make a financial calculation to warrant that shit. Most of you niggas, it's because y'all scared and y'all are hoes. Y'all are scary as hell. This is why I say you're scared of black women. And niggas that say no, no, no. Notice they say no, but they never really give a compelling reason. They just say no, like that's preposterous, that's ridiculous. But they never really give a real rebuttal to that. Now, they never, because they're talking about physical threat. And women definitely are a physical threat to men. All they got to do is dial 911 and say some crazy shit, and they can get a man with a gun, and they could completely lie. And it's still the probability, unless you got camera evidence, the probability is more so you're going to get fucked up. At the very least, you're going to get removed from that situation and be told to leave. Understand, if a woman walks up to a bouncer and say, that man grabbed my ass, just understand that you probably leaving that club even if you were nowhere near her. Just understand that. So when men always be like, women are not a physical threat. They are here because they can get a man in like 5 minutes or less. But dudes don't think about that. Yeah, they're just crying. They just get mad. They just get mad because why is she here in a space? Because that's their emotions talking. They believe they own it. They believe it's their space. And this is what's crazy to me, because it's like you all kiss white women's asses all the time. You all are very much linked with white men white women, and this is what I'm saying. Whenever black men are involved, they will work with other women easily. Because it's all about controlling men. And this isn't really about Pearl. This is just about the situation. Because motherfuckers always act like they don't understand like how to talk to her or how to counter the shit that she says without being disrespectful. And this goes to tell me, and I'm not talking to people in my Discord, because they had actually some good ideas on that. But I'm talking about a lot of people in the moment. Y'all get emotional and get mad, which is straight up like some shit like that. You know, they talk about men and emotional control. You all do not have any fucking emotional control. You all, like, seriously. Because you look stupid. You look like, it's crazy. Because it's not even like she's attractive. So it's like, what the fuck are you upset about? I'm just, like, if you just mad that she's here and she shouldn't be here, I'd rather you communicate that. Yes, you will look dumb. You will look childish as fuck. But don't waste our time and just be on some, I can't believe this. And then what's God was trying to say, what's God was doing the typical shit that motherfuckers do when you're clout chasing. You know, she didn't want to get cooked and because again, you know, fucking Fatty's a tether. And I'm just gonna keep it straight up with y'all. I don't want to hear no niggas throwing up FBA gang signs when y'all are basically letting a tether be in y'all midst. Y'all letting a tether be in y'all midst and literally build a channel with our shit. I find that rich because these are the same motherfuckers that will sit there and be like, yeah, man, Pearl, yo, y'all built Pearl up, y'all helped Pearl get up. Well, with the Portuguese nigga, yeah, y'all are doing that. Let him be around our shit and basically build off our shit and wag his finger with us. When he ain't shown no bitch. All the shit y'all be saying that niggas need to do, he ain't done. Yet y'all just go with it. Even the women, they're just comfortable with a motherfucker that don't even understand culturally a lot of the shit that's going on. So he's just running it through logic, not understanding the wise with a lot of shit. And then niggas be on channel talk FBA, and then but at the same time, like that's goofy to me, and that's the problem. Like, you're seeing in real time how that shit happens. And I'm like, and I'm not gonna call it out because I'm not trying to hate on nobody, but at the same time, there ain't nobody calling that shit out. Fuck me. All the niggas, I'm not gonna deal with y'all on no panel. But all the niggas in this space, whether it's 1MT, Skylar, or whoever, and it's like, yo, how does that fucking happen, yo? And that's the problem. No, he doesn't. And that's the problem. That's the problem, but that's the problem. Y'all niggas talk a good game, but when it really comes down fucking to it, if y'all feelings or emotions don't move you to do shit, y'all are not really gonna do it. But to the extent, but at the end of the day, you know, so he gonna be like, yeah, Pearl don't want to get cooked, and why would she let somebody with 20,000 subs, like, why would she even put herself there? Because that's a different game that's being played. But see, again, because niggas are emotional when it comes to Pearl, niggas be like, yeah, man, let her talk and be cooked. Like, it's like, y'all, this is like, I'm not your fucking reality show. And we're talking about conversations that really involve community shit. So it's kind of like, that shit looks dumb as fuck to me. Because truth be told, y'all don't know shit about him. Y'all don't know shit about no niggas in Portugal. Most of y'all probably can't even tell me where the fuck Portugal is. But yet, this motherfucker is acting like a goddamn Piers Morgan and shit. And y'all let that shit happen. Y'all are dumb. And I don't have an eyeball of everybody on them panels. I don't be watching that shit. But I know them panels be full. And you niggas are dumb. But at the end of the day, what I don't like is this emotional, like, thing with her when if you can dismantle a lot of shit that she says. You really can. Also, a lot of white crime is not promoted because it's a marketing thing. It's a propaganda thing. They don't want white people. This is why black people serve as the face of crime to cover up a lot of white crime. And white women aid and abet in that. So when white women, because remember, white women are the ones that did the bear versus man thing. That's also how you get Pearl. Why did white women do that? Well, really, it was a white man. Yeah, but white women are who made it viral. A white man did which was a white man. Then asked the question. Then it was white women that made that popular. That's what happened. So don't act like, ask her, why did white women do that? Why can I find multiple videos of white women in front of white men, their husbands now, saying that would you rather your daughter be in the woods alone with a man or a bear? And keep in mind, they're talking about a white man when they say that. And then he's saying a man, well, why not the bear? Do you understand how retarded that is? I'm curious as to what is going on in a Caucasian. This is a married Caucasian woman, so don't act like they're just super duper liberal. A Caucasian female that would be compelled to say that, and they're not talking about black people. That is a white thing. Why is that? And make her explain that. Now she'll just say they're just dumb. But all them white bitches are not just dumb. These were middle-class white households. Yes, man. See Hutch? Yes. You could go look them up. I may look them up and do a compilation. They literally had the husband was sitting there on a couch. And the woman is looking at her, like, I want to talk to you about something. And they asked the question. And literally, some of them, they went into an argument. But the woman was like, our daughter, or what they'll do is, if it was a man, they would say if you had a daughter, if they didn't have a kid yet. But some of them actually had daughters. And they would literally sit there and literally like damn near try to make that man say yes. When usually he would say no. Even if it's a skit, what is the point of doing that? And no, they weren't skits. Because those women were getting mad. A lot of women were getting annoyed. As if that's the obvious, as if the dude was saying the bear. And these were white women. That was a white woman trend. That was black people kind of trying to put their 2 cents into it. That was a white woman trend. And that was a white woman, and they were talking about white men. Because, it's going to come out different if they're talking about other men. Why is that? Why are white women afraid of their men? See, you cover up their secrets. And you don't get to be a fucking victim. Or you can play that game because the white, the white media is going to protect it. But you don't get to come to a black man amongst anybody and act like you're a fucking victim. Because we have been victimized by you and your mouth. That's a fact. A lot of white violence against black men in particular is due to the white woman's mouth and the white woman's lies. So when you come to me talking about crime, if it ain't crime against you, then I don't know why you give a fuck. Personally. Yeah, man, Nigerian scams are a problem. I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because they're not scamming me. And they're not indirectly affecting me. That's how it's like, yo, have the conversation. And the fact that Pearl is as comfortable as she is being around like a lot of these panels, it really shows a lot of y'all ain't really out. See, here's the problem. The problem is, let's just call it what the fuck it actually is. Most of y'all are too bitch made to actually publicly tell a white woman about herself. See, the first go-to you all have is y'all want to say you an ugly bitch, blah 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 blah. You an ugly, red-haired, Red Riding Hood, fucking Jolly the Green Giant's daughter looking ass, Silver Spoon looking ass. That's what y'all want to do. Y'all want to just go all the way to fuck off and just jam her up. But you all are too bitch made to do that. You all are not smart enough to actually do the Count Dooku thing and dismantle her talking points, outfits it. Because most of y'all are coming at this information full of shit anyway. So you all run the ad hominem attacks and shit like that. But the problem is you all are too much hoes to actually do that to her face. So what you do is the only card you can play is she's racist. That's the only card. That very well may be true. But there's ways of revealing that shit without just directly saying it. Because if you directly say she's racist, then it's going to come off as you're whining. So people roll their eye, oh, of course, everything's race. No, there's a better way of doing that so she can't neo-dodge that bullet. If y'all care like that, and she's got to eat it. She's got to eat that charge. Lead attorney did a good job doing that, whether that was his intention or not, because he is technically friends with Pearl. But a lot of y'all be on these panels, and I'm not even just talking about his shit mainly. I'm talking about in general. And y'all get, like, the women get perturbed, and the dudes be on their best behavior. Y'all don't want to challenge what she's saying on the merits. Y'all, because most of the time, y'all want to battle rap, which means y'all are not really talking about the conversation. Y'all are really just trying to tell somebody about themselves. And see, that's why I didn't like O'Shea's Rumble, because it stopped being about the merits and it started being about, and then when you go back and you look at, you know, the niggas that used to talk the hella shit, these used to be the most fucked up people. The niggas that used to talk the hella shit be the motherfuckers in the most fucked up relationships. Niggas has been accused of beating women, beating other women, having rage problems, having incel problems. These used to be the main ones that talk the most shit. And because civilized people are not trying to be uncivilized because dudes want to be Reagans, you want to be a Reagan, I'm not about to be a Reagan with you. Not because I can't, but because I'm just not going to do that. And that's the game that you get played. You can't play that game with white people. Because even though she ain't going to do shit, in your head, that's Miss Ann. In your head. In your head, that's still Miss Ann. Y'all know when Miss Ann shows up, that's why y'all getting mad. Because it's really this inability. I'm like, shit, she show up. I be like, yo, I got the mic. Let's have a conversation. And it don't need to be me giving whole soliloquies and whole monologues. It could be open-ended, closed-ended questions. I'll answer shit, but if I answer, you better answer yours. But none of these things come up. What it comes up is just this frustration. This anger that just bubbles up. Like this anger y'all be having, white folks in general. And then y'all, it just bubbles up with her. This irrational, like, rage. Which, by the way, y'all don't understand. White people get a lot of white folks get a sick satisfaction in understanding you all are bothered like that. They do. Why are you in our space? Y'all, most of y'all can't even say that shit. Man, I think one person has asked, why are you here? But most of y'all just get mad. I can't believe you said racism, because that's y'all go-to. And I'm not saying there's no merits to that. But the fact of the matter is, they don't care. They don't care. Black women are used to black men giving a fuck. Other groups don't give a fuck. They don't. So when you pull that, oh, I'm a black girl, and black girl problems, yeah. You still gonna do what I need you to do, and you still gonna take these crumbs. Because that's what you've always done. And you do that black girl upset talk to the men. And men eat that shit. Pearl don't give a fuck. They don't. And so you being upset don't matter. But a lot of y'all can't adjust to that. Because again, y'all are in a fucking matriarchy. So y'all just come back in the black community and black men gotta absorb all that guilt and shit. So I say all that to say, you know, she was talking about, you know, black women date a lot of criminals. And I get it. Y'all are mad that she said it. That's not even what this topic is gonna be about. But I'm gonna address this. But I don't know why y'all mad like the shit ain't true. A lot of y'all do be dating criminals. That is true. Now you're upset and you can counter it. But to sit here and get mad like it's racist just because she said it. The reality is it is true. And a lot of y'all got pride in dating that. A lot of black women have pride. Y'all don't disassociate with black women that date D-boys. You got women out here that say they pro-black and they date D-boys. Is a D-boy not a criminal? And y'all may know somebody that sell dope, but is that not a criminal? Is that somebody you think is worthy of wifehood? Seriously though. Now you feel some type of way because I guess you're embarrassed. You're embarrassed. That's why I brought up early in the conversation. I wish they would. That's why B just did that video with that gynocracy. I'm gonna keep it real. I damn sure wish Pearl would start hammering y'all with that. You know why? Because I know it'll bother you. People say, well, what's the value of Pearl if Pearl is racist? If Pearl would have talked shit about the black community and we don't need to be like the black community because the black community is matriarchal as hell, and when men are matriarchal, you're gonna get what you get. You may get dudes that know how to fuck, but at the end of the fucking day, look at, you know, I'm sorry, but look, we can argue racism is a part of that, but the black community still is what it is, and they you know, and they don't even want to accept that that's a matriarchy. What y'all, I would love to see all the black people that would be copping please talk about that shit ain't true. I would love to see niggas really, even the smarter pro-blacks really say that's bullshit, that ain't true. They're not going to do that. They're going to redirect. They're going to do ad hominem attacks. They're going to roast Pearl. You know why? Because they don't want to meet that on its merits. Because a lot of black men are in the know that's true. And they know the women will lose their minds. That would be very useful. That is a conversation that needs to be introduced into the debate. And quite frankly, if white people introduced it into the debate, black people couldn't just ignore it. They would have to eat it. And they emotionally would fall for that trap. Could you imagine if a Nick Fuentes said, hell no, I don't want to be about, be like the black community. That matriarchal piece of shit? What? That matriarchal shithole? Could you imagine that? And then people just spreading that shit? And then everybody's like, it's not a matriarchy. What are you talking about? It's a matriarchy. So Nick Fuentes is just racist. The women don't run nothing here. What are you talking about? It's not a matriarchy at all. To see black men lie, I want to get you niggas on the record saying it's not a matriarchy. I want you niggas on the record saying the black community is not a matriarchy where the women have more say than the men. As a group, when the women do not give a fuck if the men are mad, the men definitely give a fuck if the women are mad. I want you niggas on the record saying that that's not true. Because niggas try to avoid having that conversation. But I want you niggas on the record. I want y'all on the record in the deposition saying, my name is Edward Anderson and this is not a matriarchy. And I want y'all on the record. Let me get that super. Appreciate the $10 from Moonlight Right. Make sure y'all support the Cash App. Ed, do you think the changes in professional degree loan qualification and government layoffs is government out of money thing, or y'all better figure out amongst yourselves thing? It's both. It's not really government out of money, but the government needs to cut down a lot. So it's both. It's both. I would. My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. I accidentally had this phone on the restart. But yeah, that's not yeah, it's more of a redeployment of funds than anything. If I had to say like what it is. Shout out to Xanatos. This is why American white women are bottom of the barrel. At least white women in other countries will call out garbage hitting closets of their men. And yeah, and I'm not even talking about what their men do to other groups. I'm talking about what their men do to them. They cover it because they aid and abet. Remember, what did I say? Your women are one of your greatest character witnesses as a group. And white women, and say what you want about white women will lie for their men. White women do cover for their men. Black women don't. Black women like to think that they do, but they really don't. What black women do is they take shit and they park it to use it later. So at the end of the relationship, they can kind of blow it up. That's what black women do. Black women are not as loyal. They like to present that they're loyal and no, they're not. They like to think of themselves as they are. No, they're not. Black women are not loyal. Black women deploy blue leashing. Black women have a lot of secrets from black men. There's a lot of shit black women do that black men are not even aware of. Don't even get me started on that damn paternity fraud shit, which all women try to pull, but black women pull it. Hidden skeletons. What happened when Pearl pulls up and she not ugly or bad built and they ain't ready for that? Or a Pearl, you mean a white chick? I mean, it's that white chick, Coach K. And she won't speak like Pearl will speak, but she has that same white bullshit. Like there's a pathology. There's a pathology with white folks. And see, the problem is that pathology is actually starting to cannibalize them. Now it's starting to cannibalize them from a class standpoint. That personal responsibility and all that shit they talk about, now you can't just hide that you're giving benefits. Now we see that, a lot of y'all ain't hitting on that like y'all be acting like, because y'all are running out of money to just pass down and different shit. And y'all really ain't got nobody else to blame but other white people, even though they do love to blame other groups. Shout out to Compassion and Callous. He says we need to make AI a Pearl with her saying exactly that. Let's not be matriarchal like black people. That would break the. I'm not gonna make, because then people will be like, oh yeah, I get what you're saying, but something like that, something that I think I could get her to say. And also, there's rules around. If you make an AI or somebody specifically like that, they can't sue you. It is stuff they can't do to you if they know where it came from. But no, I actually think we can get a white person to say that anyway. I don't think we need AI to do that. I want that, because that'll be the first thing they start saying. Oh, it's AI, so they don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want them to get off that easy. But that's what they should. But white people don't do it for a reason. White people don't do it because white people understand that if black people ever correct that, that's going to be a problem. Black people will be a problem if they correct it. So they actually don't want black people to correct it, which is why why the people they know don't talk about it. Yeah, and black women do have an infatuation with black criminals, an edge in criminal out. They actually encourage black men to be criminals. They encourage, and it's not just hood rats either. It's not just bottom of the barrel black women. It's not. Even educated black women have this problem. No, they do. And it's like, yo, and at the end of the day, y'all want to blame men and say men are accountable. If you can't accept the reality of what it is, then yeah, nigga, you are accountable for your inability to accept the reality. I mean, just because, it's kind of like saying you're in a certain political system. If you can't acknowledge it, it's just like with the Hispanics when they try to act like racism isn't a part of the Hispanic community. No, you all just accept the racial hierarchy. That's the difference. You all accept the racial hierarchy. You all accept the hierarchy. No, I mean, you could definitely do what you want, but I am saying that I like, because what we don't, something like that. There's other stuff. But something like that, nah, because then they'll be like, it's AI. She might have to say it's AI. And then what happens is she gonna look like she's being attacked. Then black people are just gonna say it's AI. Nah, I want that conversation organic. There's other things you can get people to say. But of course, and it's like, yo, that's the culture. That is the problem with the culture. So when you see people date outside their race, they're typically trying to date outside of that. So you try to say it's because people are colorists or they don't like black. No, a lot of black men reject this culture. And so it has nothing to do with black women. It has everything to do with this culture. And single motherhood is one of the stronger manifestations of this culture. That's where you see it come up the most. It's single motherhood, which is why a lot of niggas, you're supposed to accept that a bitch is gonna have kids. Because I don't give a fuck what you talking about. In the black community, if you get with a bitch that's got kids, you're getting with her program. You're having to adjust yourself to her program. That's an easier pill to swallow if you have kids too. But if you don't have kids, that is settling. I don't care what you say. Now, people may say, well, you need a woman with kids, you need a woman to have kids, but that's some shit niggas tell themselves. You could bring a bitch here from outside the country. You could date outside your race. You could date outside your culture in the country. You can date younger. It's never been more bitches that don't have kids. Now the problem is they may not have kids, but they won't maybe toe the fuck up because they got so many abortions. So just because they don't have kids don't mean they can have kids. People don't think about that. And that's the issue. That's the real issue black men have with single motherhood. See, white women don't have this mentality that you're settling this mentality that you are on their program, because they still have expectations on what men are supposed to do. And they'll fulfill it, even though white women are some of the worst when it comes to extracting resources from you. So that's a whole nother thing. It's a matriarchal setup. And that's what people don't want to talk about. That's what people don't want to admit to. That's what people don't want to talk about. And that's what black men don't want to talk about. They want to play the, well, let's not talk about it game. That's you being a hoe. Just understand that. That's you being a knee. That's you being a bitch. That's you being scary as hell. Or you think you gonna push back like Media Man did. You may be in a community. You may be in a matriarchy. But we're not in a matriarchy. Nigga, shut the fuck up. You know what the fuck we're talking about. You know what political system. You know what system you're in. That's like saying, you may be in a communist country, but I'm not a communist. Shut the fuck up, dude. Don't play stupid. That's what they do. And they always try to have this, even the smirk that these niggas love to have when they saying that shit. And I'm like, you can do whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, man, that's how you know you niggas aren't serious about solving it. Because when it comes to the heart of it, you niggas have these reactions, these reactions. See, all you got, I'm gonna tell you something. All you gotta do to get to trick black people is, if you ask a black dude, do you think most black people are in reverse order of how it's supposed to be? If they say yes, that's them acknowledging the matriarchy. They just don't like the word because what the implication of the word. But you hear black people all the time talk about black people in reverse order of nature, reverse order of how something. What the fuck do you think that is? What do you think that they're saying when they say that? He got said, I got yelled at by my aunt during Thanksgiving yesterday because I'm not oozing criminality or swag. I mean, Clutch, you couldn't beat me. I couldn't beat you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this probably has more to do with my mom, but I always, you know, I'm 39 years old. I wish one of my family members would try to say some stupid shit like that. I'll blow their head off verbally and dare one of them motherfuckers to do something. The dudes to do something. Seriously. Because a lot of them, they be having this mentality, depending on what the age gap is, that you know, motherfuckers be 10 years older than you, thinking they like your dad or something. I be like, I don't know who the fuck you talking to. Like, straight up. And if violence is all you understand, then I can speak that language very well. And it ain't gonna be no we make up, because I'm gonna make sure what I do to you, you gonna remember what happened. I don't believe in that, oh, we just have a friendly Scrabble. No, I believe in leaving a mark on you or something. For real. Because I don't fight. I fight so that shit don't happen again. I don't fight just to have a good fight. If I get brought to that shit, exactly. Well, what they'll try to say is a lot of these kids are in cohabitating households, but household, they'll try to, you know, come with some bullshit and make it sound better. I was on the verge of tearing my aunt a new one verbally, but the dudes, my aunt's uncle, made sure that the peace was kept. But I'm good with going back. No, I had a situation like that, and I said, yo, I feel yo, real talk. I had a situation like that, and it was one of my mom's older aunts, like the oldest, like, well, second cousins. And now, ironically, she's actually cool now. She's one of these ones that as a kid, you better not say shit. But ironically, she was one of the few to actually reach out when my mom died. So she's cool now. But I have had a situation where, you know, motherfuckers pop off and I'm like, nah, fuck this peace. I'm beating somebody ass. Either you gonna let me talk or one of y'all can come, we can come outside, go outside. That's how that's going down. Damn, they ain't even take that shit. They ain't even take that shit. That's crazy. But I get it, man. Oh, okay. Okay. Then that's different. Okay. All right, Clutch. No, I get it. That's cool. Because you never know if it's like, you know, motherfuckers, did they play that keep the peace shit? Because that's that matriarchy shit. You don't want them to get mad, so you let them feel like they won. But nah, you right. I'm the same way. I don't put myself in situations like that. People are good. Then these be the ones that motherfuckers be needing money and shit, and they be trying to call people like, nah, don't call me. If the only time you calling me is when you need help, you can go ahead and lose my number. No, I don't believe that shit. I don't do that. No, I don't. I do not like to fight. So if I fight, I'm getting violent, like violent. That we are not fucking Gen X. where we do that fucking, fighting just to prove your manhood. No, motherfucker, no. I'm gonna try to I'm handicapping somebody. Dead ass. Dead ass. I believe in overwhelming force to disincentivize that shit. That's why, people be talking about the drill shit. I don't agree with that, and I'm not in Chicago, but at the same time, motherfuckers, the kids got the right idea, man. They could just fuck that. No. It's we going all the way. Piss on graves, piss on your mama, all of that. Cause that'll have your ass not want to fuck with shit. Cause now it's like we bringing everybody into it. Girlfriends, all of that. Because that disincentivizes women being on. I'm not saying that's their intention to disincentivize it, but it does disincentivize women doing the lying shit. Because if you lie and get somebody killed, well, just know they coming, and they probably coming for your black ass too. They coming for your black ass too. See, them chicks don't want to do proxy violence when they know that violence is likely to come back on them. You notice that? Y'all, give me a second. I know what I'm doing. What time is it? 2:48. All right. Yeah, people be playing. People be playing, especially with family. It's like, nah, if I gotta do this here, then I'm not playing. I am not playing. Like, I am not playing. He said, yeah, they don't care. They hop out on you on the expressway. Yeah. And see, you less likely to play that game when you know what that can lead to, like, for real shit. And see, the problem is they he said he was not sympathetic, he was truly being neutral. He said Thanksgiving is the time to settle beef. Yeah, but it's like when you got beef with, it's like I'm not gonna have beef with family members. I'm just not gonna deal with you and like at all. Like, I'm not gonna be around you. I ain't got this. That's the stigma in me. I ain't got no problem being in function because I'm not gonna have no beef with nobody. I'm gonna make it so either I'm not coming to this event or you not coming to this event. One of us are not coming. And I ain't got no problem with me coming because I don't care. But one of us ain't coming. Otherwise, something gonna go down. Not no, it ain't the time. Fuck time to settle beef. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Because see, in situations like that, that's really for the women to check that shit too. Well, there's a difference between socialists and communists. You know, this is a hybrid economy from a socialist standpoint, not a communist standpoint. Like, Canada is a socialist economy. And people be like, well, how can Canada be? Because they only got 40 million motherfuckers. Why ain't nobody going to work up in Canada, but motherfuckers will come down here. They leeching. But anyway, yeah, talking all that shit. But my point is, you know, there's ways to counter the shit Pearl say. But in their mind, if Pearl say it, it must be true because she's white. And that's really what that is. That's a problem. That's a problem with them niggas. Straight up. That's why these motherfuckers act like they don't understand how to talk to her. But like straight up with that gynocracy shit, yeah, that's what it is. That is the problem. And that's the problem that nobody wants to talk about. Black men are absolutely petrified to bring that up. This space, this red pill space, that's the one thing they don't want to bring up. And this is how you know when somebody purple pill. Because it's like, nigga, you don't even address it on its merits. You just, it's every time like a purple pill person tries to talk about the gynocracy or matriarchy, they always get retarded. Even with Dumper, what Dumper was talking about when they were talking about some gynocentric, which is not saying it's matriarchal. Oh my God, somebody put it in my Discord. Yeah, that's crazy. You think it's gynocentric. Okay, if you think it's crazy, then make me look crazy. I think it's crazy that black men are the white men of black women. I think that's crazy. I can show you why that's crazy though. But you got women trying to say that black men are the white men of black people. Well, how can they say? Because what black women are talking about, whenever they talk about black male privilege, what they are talking about are black men that have sexual leverage, not even financial leverage. Because black women can say, fuck your money, I'm doing me and I'll be broke. Because they think they can take that coochie and cash that out anytime. But good dick is something they can't easily replace. Good dick is something they can't easily replace. And they're more likely to heal on good dick. Because they know good dick is always going to find a pussy. Good dick is always going to have a home. Good dick can date outside their race. Good dick don't have to listen to them at all. So that is leverage. To them, there is no more maximum leverage than a guy that has good dick. And for that reason, whenever you hear them talk about privilege in black men, they are always talking about sexual leverage. That is always what they're talking about. If you think about it. Think about sports, any situation, either sexual leverage or overwhelming financial leverage is what they're talking about. Just think about it. Even if you say a man sexually assaulted you, if you continue to fuck a man that sexually assaulted you, that is going to be very difficult for you to justify. It won't be very difficult, but it's definitely more difficult than it otherwise would. So you kept fucking this dude for 3 more years, even though you said he assaulted you. And you fucked him regularly. That's going to be a harder case to make. The problem is the amount, the part of Swift, here's the issue, what you're saying. The problem is the amount of money that you have for them to believe, to kind of take that. When they're talking about, if you ever hear a chick talk about money, she's talking about lifestyle change. She's talking about lifestyle change or life-changing money. She's not talking about 1,000 here, 2,000 there. She's talking about money that can change her life. And in their mind, that's a lot of money. That's not just a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand. Yeah. So, and black women do not believe that. No, black women, it's pipe first, then money. Because they associate money with control. They don't really associate pipe with control, even though there is a leverage element. Because in their mind, they can get money from any nigga. They can't get good pipe from any nigga. That's the thing. That's where the leverage comes. So when you actually hear them and they're talking about that, they are talking about leverage. When they talk about the black men or no, they're talking about leverage. And leverage, and the reason why leverage is important is because you can compel people to do shit they ultimately might not want to do with leverage. But if you don't have leverage, you can't do that. The only leverage women have over men are basically kids and sex, which leads to kids. That's it. Black women have no other leverage. Which is why they get very sex threatened, which is why they always get things like passport bros or interracial dating threaten them so much. Because it's really about a leverage issue or lack of control issue. That's really what that's about. That's what that's about. Shout out to Moonlight Right with the additional $20. Much appreciated. And we all know that for things to change, there can be no safety nets for many in the black community, period. I mean, no leverage to be had if they're decided. I mean, yeah, but we're not. But see, here's the problem. The problem is we're never going to get to a situation where there's no safety nets, because that would require them taking safety nets from white women, which they're not going to do. So, I mean, so you have to work within the realm of what you know is possible. Otherwise, why even talk about it? But I hear what you're saying. But honestly, that no safety nets doesn't have to necessarily be the issue. The issue is black men want to provide safety nets, and black men don't want to deploy leverage that we do have. Meaning, we only need black women to have kids with. If you want to continue the black race, you don't need black women for a regular supply of sex. You don't. But black men do not. Black men believe that having sex with other races of women is sexual betrayal, and that's the problem. Ain't this a motherfucker? I fucking knew I should have went out the other exit. I think you all underestimate, like, yeah, so, hold on. All right. Now, so, but that's really what it is. And if they start saying that, then, yeah, because that's the one, because you're not going to fix the situation. If you're serious about fixing the situation, if you're not talking about that, you're not going to fix shit. Basically, anything else is just a negotiation with black women under the same system. And if you agree with the system of matriarchy, then you're definitely not gonna do nothing with white supremacy. I don't understand how you think you're gonna do anything with white supremacy or even have a controllable operation within white supremacy under a matriarchy. Because what that is black women are the supervisors of black men as a group, and you can't individualize your way out of that group dynamic. You can't. That's why you got all these motherfuckers talking about red pill, black men talk about red pill, and they don't understand. They're speaking from a matriarchal standpoint. None of them know what the fuck they're talking about. They really don't. So niggas talk about, yeah, man, ain't no gynocentric. How are you gynocentric in a patriarchy? Well, what makes you, like, even outside of the black community? Like, no, the first thing I'll ask a black man, do you think the black community is a patriarchy? Yeah. Okay, do you know what a patriarchy is? You can go Google it if you don't know. Do you know what a patriarchy is? Yeah. What is a patriarchy? The men run it. So you're saying that black men run the black community? Yeah. Okay. So give me one thing that black women don't want to do that black men can compel them to do. Just anything. Well, see, you know, because that's what a patriarchy is. For example, the Middle East is a patriarchy. India is a patriarchy. You hard pressed to say Europe is really a patriarchy. You can't even, the biggest definition of patriarchy, if you break up and you have kids, who keeps the kids? That's the number one thing how you know who a patriarch is. Because he who controls the kids, or he who controls the direction of the community. Because you're the one that controls the direction of the indoctrination of the children and the ideology of those children in their formative years. Men do not control that. White men don't even really control that. White men control source is economic. You take away from them, they lose a lot of power, as we've seen. White women don't even have kids with white kids, assuming like are you serious? So I mean, it's like, but they don't know that because they never thought about it. They've never thought about it at all. They've never had a conversation. Some of these people have never even used the word matriarchy before, for real. They've never even used the word matriarchy. And people will say, well, you know, black men abandon, but even which is bullshit, black men don't abandon their children. Because to believe black men abandon their children, you have to believe the black men wanted those kids to begin with. That's what you have to believe. So it's not like, okay, we get married, we have kids, nigga, just go. That's never the situation. That's bullshit. Black men are basically coerced into having kids they really didn't want under the honey trap of sex. I consent to the sex. I did not consent to have kids. I don't have control if you have kids or not, which is another way you know it's not a patriarchy. But even to that extent, most black men don't have the option to keep their kids. 50-50 custody is not the norm. That's just now starting to be like even being introduced. That's how you also, the fact that a man has to fight for his kids is how you know it's not a patriarchy. Like, what do you have? Like, I would ask somebody seriously, what do you have? Like, even Media Man, what I'm talking about the community. I'm not talking about fucking you. You are not the community. So, what in the community has you say that this is a patriarchy like everybody else? Like Indians, Hispanics, like white people. Because I can make an argument the Jewish community ain't really a patriarchy like that. It may be 55, 45, if that, on the men's side. I honestly don't believe that. So, but see, you've never, see, this is where, you know, people will be in school, go to school to be indoctrinated versus you actually interpret the information. Because you assume that they give you the real information. You assume that they tell you everything as to how it works. Why would you do that? If you understand information is power, why would you tell give everything? Do you all tell everything, give all your cards away? Hell no. You may give people good information, but that don't mean you giving everybody everything. The game is to be sold, not told. And you really believe that white people are just giving we know it, this ain't no fucking meritocracy. So if you understand that, then you understand you ain't being given all the information. Hell, they don't even teach home economics in school. Even though that's something you probably deal with in life more than anything. Home ec. What is home ec? Home ec could be finance, home finances, all of that. How to budget, all of that. Yeah, like seriously. You're not even respected in the sports. So it's kind of like, seriously, y'all want to believe it's on the men. Well, this is actually one of the things that the men can do, but they got to acknowledge and accept that's what it is in order to change it. If you cannot properly diagnose a problem, you cannot fix it. Anybody knows anything about troubleshooting, whether it's cars or anything, troubleshooting a problem, if you cannot diagnose the problem, you cannot fix the problem. Because your brain is not going to fix to the solution. If you cannot acknowledge a problem, you cannot fix it. Which is why black people that don't acknowledge white supremacy always get caught up in it. And they always have this, I got blindsided look. Because their brain isn't registering it's a problem. So therefore, you don't have any contingencies, anything to guard against the problem. Because you don't recognize it as a problem. It's called the blind spot or blind side. You don't even recognize it as a blind side. And even owning industries, owning industries don't come first, then patriarch, then that mentality comes first. That's like saying, I made money as an entrepreneur before I became an entrepreneur. That's not how it really works. It's a mentality that comes first. How your relationship with money, if your relationship with money is just through a paycheck, through a W-2, you're not gonna have a business until you have a mentality change, because that stuff comes first. You may be able to kind of waddle into it a little bit, but it's not going to be efficient. It's going to be erratic until that changes. Exactly. It goes to the father. And a lot of black men don't know that. Hell, a lot of you niggas don't know that the man ain't supposed to pay for everything when it comes to a wedding. Their dad is supposed to help hook y'all up and get in the house. At least the down payment. But see, y'all don't know that. Because y'all are taught to serve them and their bullshit. You all are taught it matters what you bring. It also matters what the fuck family she comes from. If she comes from an ain't shit family, I don't understand why you think she's gonna be worth it that. But y'all don't think about these things because you're not told. And a lot of niggas are talking about shit. Look, I don't know everything. I don't act like I do. But a lot of motherfuckers, when they say shit like, oh man, like a lot of y'all will be like, leave mama alone. That's what it is. It's leave mama alone content. Leave mama alone. Mama getting upset because you talking. It ain't got, it's that bad. But it ain't got nothing to do with information. Knowledge ain't got nothing to do with none of that. It never, like, they never think, like, it's 2015. We still on something. You just mad because you don't get no pussy type shit. Man, you just mad because you don't get no pussy. Niggas don't know shit. You ask them niggas that big, and you supposed to know that in your teens. You're not supposed to, oh man, you 30. No. That's what the information you know. Or you've readily observed, in your family by going to weddings or shit like that. That ain't something that you get told only when you're ready. Come on, Moonlight is holding it down. Make some of y'all other people donate. Hit that cash app. Shout out to Moonlight. And they are being intellectually dishonest and lazy. It's very pathetic. These men won't ever admit second wave destroyed black men's progress. I mean, a lot of these niggas are ignorant. A lot of these niggas don't know. Media man's a content creator, so that's different. A lot of these niggas really don't know, especially if they're on the younger side. They really don't know. So they basically look at it and see the black women are upset, and then that's how they're drawing like what's right and what's wrong. Man, she upset, leave her alone. That's what they're doing. That little boy shit. Leave her alone, man. Leave mama alone. Leave her alone. It's an emotional play. It has nothing to do with what's being said. And when little boys say shit, you don't know what the fuck she did to make a nigga mad and making why niggas cussing her out. All you know is mom is being attacked and you're upset. Most of y'all don't have eat. Look, man, I'm gonna keep it real. If I knew what happened in the whole situation, I may take my mom's side, but I definitely would tell her when I knew she started some shit or not after the fact. I would definitely tell her, yeah, you be starting that shit. Causing motherfuckers to miss work on purpose so they get fired. You doing that on purpose. Fuck it up, all the money is coming to, like, don't. You know what the fuck you doing. Now, I wouldn't say that in front of him, but I would say that to her and she would get mad. Whatever. The truth is the truth. Like, y'all leave her alone. I remember it was this one nigga. This nigga was talking about having a fantasy about killing a nigga that his mom was fucking. This was like when we were doing this is one of these niggas that he turned on me too. Dude talk about, oh, beat your little ass, beat your ass. I'm like, please, man, I wish, please. Trust me, I know how to handle that chaotic nigga energy. Trust and believe. Y'all niggas would be having that single mother energy. Y'all think that chaos, like, trust me, I know how to put that shit down. Niggas in that the chaos energy. What are we talking about? That's so stupid. Yeah, hold on for a second. All right. Yeah. All right. He was like, I think 19, 21 at the time. This was years ago now. This is probably like 4 years ago, 5 years, 6 years ago now. But yeah, he was, the way it came up, it was like so weird. Yeah, we had to have a fucking intervention. I mean, this fool was like, yeah, man. You know, I guess the dude used to put his hands on his mom, but you know, they had that type of relationship. And I'm not, they had, yeah, my bad. Yeah, my bad. I be putting the buttons on the wrong side. Yeah, they had, yeah, and it wouldn't do like, yeah, and it's like, yeah, man, I'll be fetish. I'll be like, yo, that's like weird as hell. But you know what? Like, real talk, a lot of these niggas, cause that son husband bullshit, yo. I don't know. No, he wasn't a teenager. He was like 21, 20. He was like 21, 22. So he wasn't young like that. Yeah, what's up, Great Dane? Yeah. But yeah, man, and it's them niggas do, like, when it come to, it be some incestuous relationship type shit. It really do. And again, that's that, and you don't, because niggas don't want to acknowledge. They don't want to acknowledge it. And so all these niggas that love talking about blaming men, if you don't acknowledge it, you can't correct it. Because here's the problem. The problem is black men have this thing. Black women are always looking for leverage over black men. Black women will work with other black women that they don't like to get leverage over black men. Black women will work with white people to get leverage over black men. But black men don't believe in that at all. At all. I'm not saying work with other people, but black men, when it comes to black men, black men believe leverage is abuse. Black men associate leverage, having leverage over women, as abusing women. I'm dead serious with that. And so because they view that, black men, unless you, this is where the nice guy bullshit comes in. See, dudes that are not nice guys don't understand that. Yeah, because at the and then you know what made it so crazy? What made it so crazy is she kicked him out. She kicked her son out. Like, because the dude that she was fucking and him used to get in the fights. And she kicked him out. When he was, I think, 18, 19, she ended up kicking him out. I remember that story now. She kicked him out. Because shoot, you already 18. So that relationship ain't mutual. She want that dick. She chose dick over her son. You think she taught him, like, real talk, how to, you know, all these dudes got this, I had to figure it out on my own stories. And then niggas wonder why you ain't building shit. Because everybody got to figure it out on their own. Because if you got to figure it out on your own, that means your parents didn't do their job. I hope you understand that. If your son or your daughter got to figure it out on her own, it's one thing if you got a plan and she just outright said, fuck it, I'm going to be in the streets because that's what I'm called to do. Fine, that's different. But if they got to figure it out on your own because you just kicked them out, because don't tell me they just weren't listening to nothing you had to say, because they wouldn't have made it 18 if that was true. They would have been gone earlier than that. You're a bad parent. You're a bad mom. I want you to think about if you were raised by your father, mainly, your single father, right? How many of these dudes just don't, or women just don't know shit? They come out of single father's homes, but they're just so fucking stupid. No, that shit mainly comes out of single mother situations. Because these women, they get tired, and because they're not meant to raise kids on their own. So but see, the only reason, and everybody knows that. The powers that be know that. They do that in order to, that's a societal control mechanism. That has nothing to do with the kids. They know that harms the kids. They know this. That's a control mechanism. They know all of this. They know all of this. That's why they always try to act like it's emerging information. And that's why they let white women meddle with everything. Because see, if men make those changes, then it's seen that the men are trying to do it for power reasons. If women do it, it's not perceived as you're doing it for power. Appreciate Lion and Mojo for the cash outs. Yeah, that's why they let white women meddle like that. The problem is white women meddle so much, now they're meddling in white people's shit. See, what they never anticipated was white women would pick up other, like, black women's bad habits. That's what they never anticipated. That's what they never thought of. They never anticipated that would happen. That's why they keep talking about how bad the black community is, because they don't understand masculine attraction to female nature. They don't understand you essentially made black men more sexually attractive by making them the bad boys. And the problem is not the poverty situation. The problem is how much you allow black men to occupy the public discourse in sports. The problem is how much visibility black men have. That's the issue. And that's why black women always perceive it as it's a promotion problem. We're not promoted enough. But what black women don't understand, black women like Chrissy don't understand, if you have a whole bunch of Keisha tendencies, you being promoted more is just going to create resentment. It's not going to, you know, and you don't understand why men are not attracted to you fundamentally. They're not attracted to you fundamentally because of a lot of different reasons. White supremacy is one of them. The other one is culturally, y'all don't have a feminine profile. Y'all don't act feminine. Y'all don't look feminine, act feminine at all, because you're in defiance of black men. And you think other men register that, oh, well, they're in defiance of black men, but they'll be these feminine creatures. No, they're seeing that defiance and they're responding to what they see. Even if they don't like black men, they're still seeing it. And that's what black women don't understand. But see, the problem is, if black women act like they're feminine against masculine against black men, but feminine against non-black men, they're not going to beat the charges. They're not going to beat the worship whiteness charges. So they're in kind of a hard spot, which is why I tell black women to date outside their race. I agree with that. They do believe black men. They do believe that a lot of black men do believe using leverage is acting white. This is why these niggas worship game so much. Game is supposed to be cake. Game. See, here's the thing. There is no game when it comes to a long-term relationship. Game doesn't work, because when you're in a long-term relationship, you're not going to be able to game your way out of that, because for the most part, the woman you're dealing with has been around you long enough that it ain't a mystery. It ain't a secret. And men don't tend to hold secrets from women like that. It ain't a secret. So game doesn't get you out of that. So you need other fundamental reasons you're with you. Now, even with money, that money can be taken away through court. But game ain't it. Exactly. Game gets you laid. But black men, this is why black men are not known to cultivate relationships like that. Because again, it's all about, you know, game is about getting laid. So again, black men is like everything is game. They worship their game acolytes. But your game doesn't build. There's no game for dealing with a bitch that's got your kids. Ain't no game for that. But they do believe it's a white person tagging. That's one of the reasons why they believe it's abuse. Like, niggas are fundamentally uncomfortable. I say let's have a conversation about leverage. What men are fundamentally black men are fundamentally uncomfortable with that conversation. I'll argue other groups have been uncomfortable as well with that conversation, but having it publicly. But black men are uncomfortable with that conversation. because they are going to quickly draw that into abuse. Even your ability to leave as leverage is considered emotional abuse and abandonment. Anything you could do to control a situation, and it's not about controlling the woman, it's about controlling a bad actor or somebody's operating in bad faith. If you're someone that said, hey, if you deal with me, just because you have leverage doesn't mean you have to exercise it in a bad way. But if we agree to this, you are going to be held. What do you think accountability is? Black men think accountability is wagging your finger at black women. That's what they think accountability is. You ask black men what accountability is. This is why when I ask Locast, what do you mean when you say crack that whip? Locast didn't want to answer because Locast is like smacked shit out of her. That's what, Locast was thinking physical violence. Because if Locast would have knew what I'm saying, he just would have said that. You got to have leverage. Leverage looks like this, this, and this. For example, the ability to leave and replace her with equal or greater bitch is leverage. Even if it ain't sexually. If she knows, this is why women always like men in relationships. These women want to check a nigga phone, but these bitches be hella disappointed if ain't no bitch in his phone. Because now she like, nobody wants my bitch. Nobody wants my dude. That's the mind of a modern woman. Having leverage is how they know you have power. They can do what they want. Benefits is leverage and not just money. Money is a part of it, but money is not. It's not so much about the money, but about what you've done with the money to create an aura around you. And I'm talking about like not just wealth, but like what you do, what you're about, and you can be a part of that or not. I can excommunicate you, but you got to have something these bitches are willing to lose. Now, if you talk about a high quality man, a good man, when you say a good man, what does that mean? A man that's going to be loyal. Because there's a difference between being loyal because you're loyal to the options you have and being loyal even though you have options. Those are two different things. Women register that differently. Having money, I'm not saying you got to be rich, but having money and knowing what to do with it and knowing you're going up, up, up. The way you move, like we've talked about the currencies. That's the issue. And dudes want to appeal to a woman's good nature. No. You have to appeal to their need for power, status. And yeah, you can create status even on social media. You ain't got to be a celebrity. Status is perceived. Psychic benefits, as what Professor Black Truth says. And the problem is dudes are trying to appeal to these bitches' hearts and shit. And these women are moving on that. These women are moving on demon sex time. You're not appealing to her heart. You got to appeal to that coochie, not her heart. You fucking serious? Yeah, I'm a good man. There's nothing sexually attractive about a good man until that bitch is old and useless and desperate. And even then, they don't want a good man to fuck. They want a good man for help. To give them the platform to find the nigga they want to fuck. These bitches are getting in their 40s and 50s. This is why, you got Melissa Ford talk about motherfuckers are misogynists. Misogyny means not kissing your ass. Misogyny means putting me first over your bullshit. They're misogynist. All them niggas on Joe Budden podcast are like almost all of them are married or in long-term relationships. And this motherfucker talking about their misogynist. Bitch, you the only motherfucker with nobody. The fuck you talking about? You're a misandrist. You the only one on here accusing motherfuckers of dealing with underage girls. Out of no evidence. But you talking about motherfucker shit. Joe Budden could have let Cameron fuck you up. Cameron know your secrets. He protected you, but he a misogynist. And you forget, Cameron can still get your ass. They got that $100 million deal now. Cameron can still put your ass out there. And he can low-key put your ass out there without standing on it. He won't do that. Just like, what's his name? Gilbert Arenas know who Dre and Michelle fuck. He's like, that bitch used to be in the back of my car. I mean, Joe Budden's had his issues with women, but clearly the bitches don't think he misogynist because he stay getting chicks. Joe Budden stay getting hoes. Joe Budden got one of the best. Look, I don't like Joe Budden like that, but Joe Budden got one of the best, like, hoe records. Especially when you consider he had really one hit. Joe Budden got mad hoe. Like, the roster, like, the record of hoes he's been with is, like, really good. Especially for somebody that you know, had one hit. Niggas love to act like that's the be-all, end-all, but when it come down to it, niggas don't want to be acknowledging that shit. And Joe Budden did put her on. Joe Budden saved her from Mike Rashid. Mike Rashid show didn't have no motion, not in that arena. And she mad because you know, when you gave her a microphone, the bitch had nothing to say. Because Melissa Ford is a bimbo. Melissa Ford is a black bimbo. I mean, even Sukihana can say some real shit. Yeah. Exactly. It's like, and even then, man, the point is, here's the issue, because people will sit here and say, well, you know, you just jumping on the chick's past. The thing about it is, look at Dre and Michelle now. And Dre and Michelle's take her L. Thank God that dude took that house back. Shout out to him. But look at Dre and Michelle and where she is at 40. And look at Melissa Ford at 47. You know what's crazy? And look, I get it. I don't think Melissa Ford can have kids. But what's crazy, and that's bad, that's why she's really mad. Because if she didn't have the ability to have kids, now she don't got the ability to really lock nobody down for real. Which is crazy, isn't it? I don't know. Because you gotta remember, man, it's not a lot of black, like them white boys are the ones that's mainly giving money. And truth be told, y'all keep talking about OnlyFans, but in the age of AI, you can make that shit. And I'm not even talking about fake. You can make that shit look indistinguishable. Like, if I really wanted to, I could get Melissa Ford pictures, like Melissa, and I mean, you would not but know that shit was AI. In the age of AI, the main money in OnlyFans is chatting. So you believing you talking to the bitch. But real, cause shit, ain't no billionaire now. It's video models. Sophie Rane gets the money she gets because of them old white boys. White dudes. It really is. AI is coming for OnlyFans. Trust that. AI is coming for OnlyFans. Because honestly, AI is there now. If you really wanted to. It's just a legal issue. So if somebody were to spread your pictures and shit, you know, you'll get probably in legal trouble. I never knew there was a such thing as nasty water until I got Deer Park. Deer Park is some nasty ass water, yo. Deer Park is nasty as hell. That's why there's a reason if people are ever going to get water, like let's say it's a hurricane or something, Deer Park is always the last water to be got. You know, when it's just Deer Park in there, like even a cheap brand, even a brand that's like, you know, that real cheap brand, a 99-cent brand, that will all get taken before Deer Park gets took. Store brand, all of that. It might be. Women beautiful, like and Maya not having, yeah, Maya's wild. Maya's wild. And you be wanting to say, well, maybe it's that, you know, she wanted a white dude, but I don't know. Maya's wild. I would read that book. If she said why she didn't have kids, I would find that say, because that's wild. I believe Maya is like Italian. Everybody thinks she's Puerto Rican. I think she's Italian, but that's a waste of genetics. Don't even get me started on that. Like, that's got to be a mental issue there. Whew. But anyway, y'all, I said what I said. You know, hopefully y'all having a good genetics in general, light, dark, whatever. Yeah, that's, I don't know what's up with that. Maya should have got somebody international, but all right. That's crazy. Yeah, it was kind of like Nelly. She caught Nelly at the right time. Nelly was willing to settle down. Nelly just got out of a relationship. The chick that he got with was playing games. Talking about we had to break up to see if we would find our way back to each other. And then he got with Ashanti. I'm like, you dumb as fuck. That's what happens when you play games with yourself. Deer Park is worse than Holes Water. That is actually the truth. I got Dasani. I wanted a Krispy Kreme, and I was like, man, that better not be Deer Park. You overcharging me. Dasani is all right, but Aquafina is better. But Dasani's solid. Yeah, I would probably take Megan Good or Maya. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Especially back then, that's a hard one. And they both aged very well. They have both aged very well. Christina Milian is all right. No, Christina Milian is attractive. But these bitches now, man, it's crazy. You know, Maya, I don't know about Maya better mentally. Phantom Clutch. I was thinking about that too. Phantom Clutch sat there. He had to make that more clear. He said she more likely to be able to listen. I'm like, listen. Well, the thing is, she tried to act white, just like Sage Steele. And it's like, you can play that game with black people. You can't play that game with white people. And Melissa also come off looking fake as fuck too, because it is still a podcast. It's like, bitch, if you really had that kind of problem, you was on there kind of long with them. Melissa the type of bitch, you know, like, the way you deal with a bitch like Melissa Ford is you got to have another chick on there. That way, if she ever tries to make it about misogyny, see, if that Mona chick would have been on there from before, she would have been able to make it about misogyny. If you got like 4 dudes, you're going to have 2 bitches on there. I mean, you look hella stupid. I don't think Melissa really understands it. People are paying attention to that shit. Ain't nobody gonna bring you on. Shout out to KMS. Finally caught a live, been thinking about it. You are right. We are cooked. 20% of the community is salvageable. Yet 80% needs to be written off. Like bad credit. It hurts me to say that. We women ran. It don't have to be that way though. The men choose to do that. The men are too comfortable with that dynamic. It ain't like the women be beating our asses and beat us into submission. That's a chain we love to have. It's like the elephant and the chair. You don't even got to tie the chair down. You choose that. You choose that. You choose to put up with that shit. It is worse, but it's fixable. Yeah, it is worse, KMS, but it's also more fixable. Why do you don't talk to women? Because the men are the problem. Ooh, tell me more. The men let y'all get away with way too much. And they don't want to bail your ass out. Sometimes you gotta make somebody find their own way back. Because if you bail them out, all you do is you reinforce it. But dudes don't want to acknowledge that Because in dude's mind, they gotta save this bitch from herself. That's not how it works. I mean, to me, these bitches just think they think it's like money. You give a woman too much money, and she's cooked because ain't nobody gonna be able to tell her shit. If a woman is too fine or too attractive, ain't nobody gonna be able to tell her shit because it's always another nigga. And they'll get to the point, you assume they grow out of that, but shit, Tracy Ellis Ross is like that, Maya's like that. You may not see them with niggas, but it's like, in their mind, all dudes are the same. And women ain't supposed to be jumping on that much dick. Because a lot of that is you done did so much fucking early in your years, you can't, what that really is not hard. Y'all can't bond with nobody. Y'all hopped on so much dick early, and like some of these bitches, you gotta remember how old these bitches are. They were fucking in the 90s, where it wasn't odd to be fucking, look, I mean, they were fucking, like these bitches been fucking since they were 16, 15, 16, 17. And I'm talking a lot of them with fucking grown man dick. At 16 years old. When the age of consent was that. So I don't want to hear that. Millennials were the first generation that had this delayed adulthood shit. See, that's what people forget about. Well, millennial black women are all going to be 30 at the end of this year. So most of them are already 30 and up. So now they can't be on the, they can't lean on the I'm young bullshit no more. My bad, it's Krispy Kreme, my bad. I'll be 40 next year. I got what, I'm still in my birth month. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, and Gen Z dudes are on some different shit. Gen Z dudes date out way more. Millennials were like the transition generation when it comes to dating out. But Gen Z dudes, but we still had a lot of pro-black in us. Gen Z dudes don't have that same pro-black in them. They got that Democratic bullshit. The Democratic Party bullshit. I mean, yeah, you can't ignore the economics. But SWP believes you shouldn't be having kids unless you already rich, which is that's never been the case. People have never had kids. Oh, well, we just gonna have kids once we that's not how it works, because kids were originally meant to be extra hands on a farm. So SWP is really talking about the better in the same age he's talking about when it was the peak time to have kids, which is why you had a baby boom, is the time he's saying it's got to be to have kids. No, that's not accurate. Now, it is accurate to think that that's why white people don't have kids, but it's not accurate as to that's why you don't. Hispanics have kids all the time. But I understand what he's saying when he says that. But at the end of the day, man, you know, these conversations, I mean, at this point, you're getting into a place where motherfuckers, it's just chaos. Motherfuckers are just talking to engage with somebody's emotions to get more views, to get money. And at this point, it's going to be so much confusion that you're not going to know what it, and I mean, motherfuckers are going to be lost. Now, SWP does say that. He does say culture has to reward economic production. And the problem, he does say that. He says that in a couple of different ways, too, directly and indirectly. But the problem is black women, the reality is black women mating pattern really is, I want to have a baby by somebody I'm sexually attracted to, and then I want somebody that's more economically viable to raise it. Bitch, go fuck yourself. That's why that's really what it is. And they walk around here as single mothers looking for a nigga. I'm like, yo, you already got a nigga you supposed to be with. It's the nigga you had a child for. And if you can't make it work with him, you shouldn't be, that's on you. If he ain't shit, bitch, you had his kid. Remember, we're not talking about women that fuck dudes. We're talking like, oh, I'm mad that you fucked the dude. That's a white man's problem. We're talking about women that had a baby by somebody. No. And so women always be like, ain't nothing, bitch, fuck you. Talk about ain't nothing wrong with no, it's not about the single mother. It's about what I'm going to be expected to do. And I'm not playing, certain things I'm not playing with you with. Fuck what you talking about. I don't care what you're talking about. 1 + 1 is 2, and we don't need to have a conversation about that. Point blank, period. Now, you got some niggas that be on that one child power. Hey, she got one child, she made a mistake. Then we fundamentally don't. Then the reason you're dealing with a single mother, not dealing with one, is not the same reason I'm not dealing with a single mother. Because one kid doesn't matter. See, y'all niggas are, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't understand, if you're gonna have a one child policy, why not have 2? If she had it with one, the same nigga, why not? Why is 1? What is the difference? What is the real difference between 1 kid and 2 kids, other than an extra mouth? But from a philosophical standpoint, when niggas play that one child shit, they're just trying to leave the door open to a bitch that looks good enough, or if they want a kid. These hoes know they shouldn't be having kids that early. Yeah, man, she made a mistake. I'm like, that nigga, you don't really believe in those things, no, not dealing with single mothers. And quite frankly, black men need to stop fucking single mothers altogether, really. Well, then we ain't gonna be fucking black women, and so be it. So be it. Go, there's other races. But niggas don't, or you got niggas that they be fucking on single mothers and then they feel guilty. So they always be like, yeah, man. But see, the reason why, that's how you wind up getting a bitch pregnant. Because you got all these fluid ideas about shit. Not understanding that bitch had a baby once. She's likely to do it again. Especially if she really likes you. These chicks can have kids generally like 3 days out of the month. These bitches be knowing. They don't accidentally get pregnant. You may accidentally get them pregnant, but they don't accidentally get pregnant. I've told you before, a lot of bitches like getting pregnant because it creates a hormonal response in their body for them to try to grow some grown woman weight. You have no fucking idea what be cooking in these chicks' heads. A lot of folks. And dudes don't even think about it because they fundamentally think women are generally good people. They think women are more righteous than men. Men actually believe that shit. Who you think is more likely to do the right thing? Men or when nobody's looking, a man or a woman? Most people will tell you a woman. They don't got no proof of that, but they'll say it. Them niggas will believe that shit with all their heart. It's called intercultural. It's called dating younger. It's called intercultural dating. That's how you deal with black women that are not single moms. But just understand, nigga, she's not getting on your program. You're getting on her program. As long as you understand that and you go in there eyes wide open. Niggas love to play like they don't understand. Man, I don't understand, man. No, we working with each other. If she say 50-50, that means it's never gonna be, that means your 50% is to take all the blame, take all the burden. Her 50% is to take if she talk about partnership, if you believe in partnership, not wifehood, we're not equally yoked culturally. Because that's you verbally saying you don't believe. And because it's not about, you don't really believe in 50-50. You believe in, I'm supposed to do all the work. But you don't believe in equal parts work. You believe we're 50-50 as far as the say in the relationship, but you still believe I'm supposed to do all the shit a man is supposed to do. Bitch, fuck you. They believe in 50-50 as far as power dynamic. And really don't really believe in that. Because it ain't gonna be like half the time they gonna let up on anything. A bitch, fuck them. Because these bitches are fucking younger dudes. Everything they say you evil for, they do. And they only say that because it doesn't advantage them. That's sexual politicking. These bitches don't care. They care. That's them being sexually insecure. And people need to start telling them that. That's your sexual insecurity talking. You got bitches in their 40s not clocked out in a relationship. Of course they're going to say that. What else are they going to say? They are playing a zero-sum game. And black men have this idea of black women that they want to defend. And it's not just black women. I'm not out here saying other races are like 100% better. But culturally, black women have been encouraged to do a lot of the bullshit that they do. That's the difference. And dudes, Indigo says, yeah. And dudes don't want to hear that. Because they thinking about their mom. When they think of a black woman, you're not fucking your mom, though. The relationship you have with a black mother has nothing to do with how you're gonna have with a black woman as a girlfriend or a sexual, partner, whatever you want to call it. Girlfriend, wife. So when niggas like they be really think, that's why they say your mama black. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? I'm not fucking my mama. So it's not the same dynamic, yet people say it. He said, I'm out here. We out here. I knew a dude who used to always randomly say, yo, we out here. They could be at work. Yeah, we out here. We out here. It is what it is. Niggas will learn or they won't. We're geeks and gamers. Niggas be like, I don't understand why niggas be listening to red pill content. Well, maybe you need to use your fucking thinking caps and actually figure it out. I don't. That's the most pussy ass comment. You know, when I hear men say, you know, I just don't understand. Why are you listening to this? I'm like, nigga, let me know when you not on no period no more, man. Them niggas love saying that. Like, I just don't understand. Why are you listening to this content? What is it? Why don't you listen? Why don't you do a reaction to a video? There's a popular red pill video and debunk that shit in real time. And that's actually what had me originally want to go live. Because I was like, you niggas, if you all are so right, why don't you do what, like, Fugazi does and have a call in? Or why don't you call in the Fugazi? Why don't you call? Cause usually the way that they love talking about red pills, they be like, you not living like you talking. But that don't mean you debunk the point that's being talked about, though. That doesn't mean that. You do realize that, right? If you say the best way to raise a child is in a two-parent home, in a relationship, or, you know, just because you got a whole bunch of single mothers around, that doesn't mean that that's not true. And they always think, yeah, man, I debunked. You debunked yourself. No, nigga. That doesn't mean that's not true. Just because you say it's good to eat right, if you're a fat fuck, you're a living example of what happens when you don't. But that doesn't mean eating healthy is not true. It's still not good advice. And that's why I hear, like, when people talk about Andrew, yeah, Andrew, it looks bad, but that doesn't debunk what he's saying. Because let's keep it real. Nobody's saying Andrew is a high value guy. So if he says, he'll say men, he don't talk about high value men, but men, I mean, Andrew worked with what he had. And at the end of the day, people can talk shit about that, but he is in a relationship, is in a marriage. Now, we can all disagree with how he went about doing it, but I mean, there's worse people in the world. Is he the best person to be making these debates? Hell no. Because he's exposed to that. Because he doesn't even live the ideas of what he's speaking about. And I get that. But, the reality is that doesn't mean what he's saying is incorrect. And the problem is people will try to take your attention off of that and then try to say, well, what he's saying is wrong because they make it about him and not about what's being said. And they only do that. She does get vicious. I saw that. Dead ass. So people always want to debunk the person and not the point. And that's how you know they can't debunk the point. They try to do the same thing with Kevin Samuels. How can you talk about marriage when you're not married? Because Kevin was talking about getting married. Kevin was talking about finding a husband. Now, you can, you definitely can argue staying in a marriage is not Kevin's forte. But Kevin was still amicable with his ex-wife, something a lot of people don't do. Aren't. Kevin has a daughter. Kevin had a mother and he grew up in a matriarchal household. So that when Kevin was getting married, yo, is that the governor? Oh shit, is that the governor? Y'all don't know this, but I'm right across the street. I'm right across the street from the governor's mansion, like a fucking like an op. Like a straight up op. Like I'm just scoping the shit out. It ain't my fault they got a great place to park. This would be just in a movie if I just started driving all of a sudden. Driving behind them. Yeah, I'm right across the street from the governor's mansion. Exactly. Governor, no, not the mayor, the governor. The mayor doesn't have a mansion. The governor does. Like, I mean, right across. If I wanted to hop that gate, I could. They hopped the gate, the government barely do something with it. I get right up in that motherfucker. What the fuck are you doing? He said like 3 days of the condor. Like, shit, I don't know what the... Yo, man, we've had a female mayor for damn near 13 years in Raleigh. Yeah, motherfuckers really be out. Motherfuckers really be out here because they try to and don't think I don't pay attention to that. Like, you try to debunk the shit, but like, yeah, man, we're gonna debunk Myron. That don't mean that the basic shit he be saying is not right. Now the 50 body shit I think is excessive. It's like, nigga, have you had 50 bodies? Like, what do you do? You need 50 bodies. You know, that sounds like some tether Sudanese, like tether bullshit. You need 50 bodies. Get the fuck out of here. Especially where you from, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. Whether that's the Arabic world or the African world. 50 bodies. Dude, shut the fuck up. Well, I mean, Raleigh is the capital city. Yeah, that white bitch is dumb as fuck. That white bitch is dumb as fuck. Honestly, that white woman is like another Kamala. The one that's the governor of New York. Like, she got in there over a Me Too case. Honestly, it's more prestigious to be the mayor of New York City than governor of New York. Yeah, you're not gonna, like, most dudes are not gonna get 50 bodies, yo. Most dudes are not fucking and it does get redundant at a certain point. The way them motherfuckers be fucking, it's like, you need 50 bodies before you give. That's some of the dumbest shit. Red pill means the truth. The end. But people associate red pill with make women mad. Women be upset for red pill, so that means red pill bad. Which is how you know you're led by a female's emotions. Women get upset about not, if somebody says you shouldn't be able to abort children. So I guess that means abortion is good and not being able to kill children in your womb is bad. Yeah, you're about 40 minutes. I-95 is 40 minutes from Raleigh. Well, you always got to assume if you're not in a relationship, people, see, that's another funny thing. People always assume, like some people are in 5-6 year relationships. So if, yeah, 50 bodies is easy if you're not in relationships and if you're just buying pussy. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Coming in here with that dumb shit. Red pill? What does red pill mean? The truth. Interesting. Yeah, you can interest your way out of here, man. Nah, fuck him. He's being, like, niggas are being stupid. Interesting. It's interesting. What does red pill mean? Interesting. Shut the fuck up, dude. Yeah, Swift is right. That is MGTOW. That's not necessarily red pill. Red pill is like a conglomerate. There's a lot of things under red pill. SYXBM is under red pill. Red pill is just want to know the truth. What the prescriptions and what you do with that truth, that's usually SYSBM, Igmore, MGTOW, Passport Bros, all that. Nigga come in here interesting. That that slow walk trolling where you just wanna test the waters, put your toe in the waters, but not dive right in with the trolling. Nah, you can get up out of here. That makes sense. In my traveling time to Raleigh is about 45 minutes, depending on my. Yeah, I mean I know. I mean I live here. I know. I don't, and actually don't even go to I-95 like that. Because I'm going west. If I'm going anywhere towards like Charlotte, Durham, Chapel Hill, I-95 is east of Raleigh. So there's no point in me going to I-95. Like to get to Virginia, I wouldn't go I-95. To get to South Carolina, I wouldn't go I-95. So most of the places I would go doesn't require I-95. I-95 is really if I wouldn't go to Chicago via I-95. I-95 is if I'm going to the Northeast or if I'm going to Florida. I wouldn't use I-95 to go to Atlanta. So nowhere I go to do I really use I-95. I-95 if I'm just making a direct shot to Florida or going to Jesus fuck. I wouldn't be able to stay being on one road that long. Shout out to Gregory Scotland for the $5. Much appreciated, man. Y'all hooking a brother up. Yeah, I-85, yeah. I take 40. You know, I-40 comes through Raleigh, and I-40 goes from Raleigh all the way to Phoenix. I-40 goes from the East Coast to the Atlantic Ocean all the way to Phoenix. I use I-40 every day. Literally every day. Man, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, you know, none of the guys, like technically all the dudes that they're sexually attracted to are red pill, even if they don't know it. To be on game is to be red pill. Because you have to acknowledge something that a lot of blue pill motherfuckers don't want to acknowledge. But the problem is they don't want men to be, like even Melissa Ford, they're not comfortable around men that they know are up on game. Because when men that are up on game are men you can't get shit out of. So they fundamentally try to emotionally gaslight and scare men away from that. That's all that is. Oh, the Ukraine chick incident. I mean, yeah and no. So a magistrate, I dealt with a magistrate a lot because my aunt. Magistrates are like assistant judges. They have some judicial powers, but they're not what's called a superior judge, which is a real judge. Superior judges are elected, and they can appoint magistrates. So magistrates are kind of like a lawyer and a paralegal. Paralegals can do a lot of paperwork, but paralegals can't practice law. But paralegals actually know almost everything a lawyer knows when it comes to paperwork. And they're going to know a lot of laws just by definition of what their job is. So that's kind of like how the judges and magistrates are. The last thing he got arrested for was not a violent offense, meaning they didn't have a cause for holding him. And there are no 3-strike laws in North Carolina. So, yeah, he was let out. But he was mental. That's it. Yeah, but I would go to DC a different way. DC is only 4 hours away from me. I wouldn't go 40 minutes to I-95 to only make a left. I would to go north. I don't like that shit. It's not different. I mean, most places, most places, most states don't have a 3-strike. That's some California shit. Most states don't have 3 strikes. Like, you can't lock somebody. Somebody gets locked up for the last offense they did. You can't just be like, well, you'd have been in jail for a whole month, so I'm just gonna leave your ass in there. Even then, you're limited to what, like, you can give somebody a max penalty, but that's still limited to what they did at that time. So, for instance, if you got, like, the last time he went to jail was because he kept calling the police saying somebody was in his head. That's why he went to jail. So he was more on some misuse of police forces and domestic disturbance type shit. And the magistrate had to let him out because he was in there for mental reasons. You don't have cause. And yes, he did a whole bunch of other things before that, but you can't just artificially just keep people in jail. You have to have a legal cause. You can't be like, well, I just feel like you need to be in jail because you've done these charges. It's not how that works. Now, and even 3 strikes is for felonies. 3 strikes are not for misdemeanors. That's why in California, you can steal shit, and if it's if it's up under a certain amount, that's not true here. You steal something here, you catch in the same case. In North Carolina, you can sue the person that cheated on your spouse. If your spouse cheats on somebody, cheats with you on somebody, cheats on you with somebody, you can sue the person they cheated with. All right, make sure y'all give Nate some well wishes. I don't want to like put out, if y'all on his TikTok, y'all know you know. I don't want to put his business out there, but Nate is definitely, going through some things. So make sure if y'all in the Discord and stuff, y'all wish Nate, happy Thanksgiving, that you're there for him, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I'm about to be out. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off.